So one of the questions that I often see popping up quite a lot is, can I actually afford it? People, when you're in the sort of pre-stage launch, you're like, is this something that is affordable to me? And it's kind of a very difficult question to answer, because there are lots of different ways that you can afford it, as it were. And we're going to be talking through some of those options that you may have to you later on in the journey. But what's really important, not necessarily is whether you can afford it or not, is can you afford, what sort of risk can you afford to your business? So you may be at different stages in your life, whether you've got children, whether you've got mortgages, whether you've got other people to support within your family group, or whether you're kind of young and you're quite carefree and you don't really have any ties. So it's always quite important to sort of understand what sort of financial risk you can put yourself under, because you don't want to get into anything that's going to put too much stress onto you and your family. So we always recommend, starting out small. If you've just won the lottery or you're a philanthropist and you just want to, for all means, go and open a new Tesco's store. But for most of us, we won't be starting at that level, and there really is no hurry. You don't have to have a massive business to do well from it. Some very small businesses, very simple businesses, do much better. And I think my own journey was a real key in this, because we did start with perhaps a shop that was much bigger than we could really afford at the time. And having since now scaled back my business to be a much smaller operation, a much better run operation, we're actually making profit. So whilst our turnover has dropped, our profits have increased, and it might look like a smaller, lesser, I suppose, business than what we had before, but actually we're in a much better place financially. And then I have the choice now that I can expand if I want to. Whereas if you take on something too soon that is too much for you, you can't really go back if it goes wrong. So don't be afraid of starting small, of just taking on a small risk to start with. And there are lots of options which we'll be talking through later on. You don't have to literally go and open up a 1,000 square foot store to make a difference. And lots of people have shown there's different models that you can have that can really work for you. So just be aware of your own risks, start to become aware of what your own personal risk that you can take is, and how much can you kind of afford to lose if the worst was to happen, for example. So it's all about being prepared, not pessimistic, but prepared, and that's how you can kind of work out if you can afford it or not.